Thanks for stopping by the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks for being here, being subbed. If you're not, hit the button. And if you're listening on YouTube, hit the like. It's like walking in the room and hitting that light switch. Let's brighten up the place and get into the real of reality TV.
Talk to me nice, talk to me honestly. Look in my eyes, don't let it fall on me. Say you're a good guy, make me believe it. Don't wanna hear it, I wanna see it. See how rewind, when we rewind, feel so.
Alright guys, so listen, I wanted to share my thoughts on these marriages that are being represented on the Real Housewives of Atlanta, because honestly, the Real Housewives of Atlanta for several seasons now, it hasn't really been known for the marriages and really just for the women. And I feel like at this point, because of how they have allowed people who are not even married, and knowing that coming onto the show to be a part of the Housewives franchise, period, not just on Atlanta or in Atlanta, maybe just get rid of that concept, because I don't even think it means much anymore. You've had women that have come on these shows in the very beginning, the Housewives of Atlanta, it was married women and, one that was going through a divorce and one that was dating a married man. Okay. Season 1, Deshaun Snow and her husband at the time, who they're now divorced. He was cheating on her and had a baby with somebody else. Anyway, they were married. You had Nene Leakes and her husband, Greg Leakes. Then, later on, they started having problems and they got divorced and then they got remarried on the show. And then you had Lisa Wu Hartwell at the time. They're no longer married at this point. Big surprise. But they were married at the time, so they came on the show as a married couple. Lisa Wu and Ed. And then you also had Sheree Whitfield going through a divorce with Bob. And then you had Kim Zolciak, who was dating a married man that went by the name, not went by the name, but she called Big Papa, okay? So that was back in 2008, all right? This is 2025. Maybe they just need to get rid of the concept, because like I said, pretty much all of those women wound up getting divorced, and they allowed a woman to come on the show that they knew was dating a married man. So to try to make it seem like, oh, well, you have to be in a marriage to be on the show, because Shamia on her Breakfast Club interview said they had been courting her for years, but her husband did not want to do it. But then he finally was like, yeah, you know what, if you want to go ahead, do it. But they haven't really showed much of him so far this season. I think they've shown him 2 or 3 times, and or maybe a few more, but most of those times he was on FaceTime with her. He wasn't even in the same room. But I'm just saying that to say it's not that they're not in a happy relationship. They are. So, you've got a beautiful woman, beautiful family. He is obviously a great husband to her, and I'm happy for her. But I just feel that he is somebody that doesn't want to be on TV. And that's normal. And not just because he is a successful person and, probably has a lot in terms of business-wise that he just doesn't want to be on TV with. I just am okay with that. She's married, they're happy, and let it be that. But for him to have to film and him, to have to be in some scenes with her or whatever, I don't think he really wants that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And so I don't think they have any issues in their marriage in terms of like anything that would be breaking. No relationship is perfect. I don't care how much money people have. I don't care how beautiful the images are or whatever. But that's also not to say that the issues that they may have in their relationship and their family are really issues at all. Just you have 2 different people coming together to make a life together, to make life work, to create a family. Obviously, they have issues with children and wanting to have another child, and one of the children's health is an issue. So they have issues. So when I said they have issues, I'm not talking about issues where it would be something that would break their marriage, break their relationship, break their household. I'm just saying everybody has issues. Everybody. And that doesn't mean that you want to have those issues pan out on camera. And these reality shows, that's what they want to do. So I don't believe that that's something that he wants in his face all the time. But I don't believe that they have any issues in their marriage. All right, so then we have Angela Oakley and her husband, Charles. Listen, I'm just really not here for people coming for their marriage and attacking their marriage, because this is the thing when it comes to a lot of these reality shows and people showcasing their relationship, and not even really so much showcasing it, like literally putting it on under a microscope for people to inspect, but you're just living your life. I just believe Charles is just one of those old-fashioned guys. I truly do believe he loves his wife. I don't really like it when people are trying to scrutinize people's relationships based off of a scene or two, or not even maybe a scene or two, but just because you see how this person is acting on the screen. They're not really acting. I just believe Charles is an old guy who ain't really here for the drama and the BS. And it's like, I'm doing this for my wife, but I really am not here for y'all. I'm not here for these cameras like that. I don't think he's here for any foolishness, period. Like, you heard him talk about his own family. He's like, look, I barely talk to my own sister. You think I really want to hear about the drama you're having with your own? I just think that's real. It doesn't mean that he doesn't love his wife. And when they had the little scene at the restaurant, which is something that they had to do, he's going along to get along for the show, not for the sake of the relationship. So I feel like he's like, why I gotta prove that I love my wife to these niggas that I don't know? That's what I feel is the energy he's giving, not that he doesn't really love his wife. I just feel that he's an old-fashioned guy. He is doing this for his wife, and he's here for her, but he's not here for y'all. That's what I feel like he's giving. And Angela, I like her. I just don't really believe that she would bring her relationship to the show if it was already on some shaky, rocky ground. And then you had the rumor that she said Wendy Williams put out there to say that Charles had a baby on her. And she said it wasn't Charles, it was her oldest daughter's father. When they were in a relationship, he had a child with someone else while they were together. But Wendy took what she said to make it like Charles was the one who had a baby on her. And she said it wasn't Charles, it was my oldest daughter's father. But, I'm bringing that up because there was a clip, and I'm just going to show a little bit of it for fair use purposes. I'm just going to let everybody know I'm not claiming this material as my own, but Kelly was on Watch What Happens Live, and she made a comment about Angela and Charles that I just didn't really, I didn't really care for.
I feel like she just felt as salty as the
oh really
the season on my chicken.
Oh okay.
Yeah,
I think she was happy.
Well, she didn't show it.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a little, I don't know, maybe it's their friendship taking on a new role.
Okay,
but yeah.
We'll talk about it at the
Porsha
reunion.
looked
Okay, what's the biggest lie Britt has said on camera this season?
Her entire life.
Oh! Yeah. After her comments on Watch What Happens Live, who do you think is more at fault in their friendship fallout, Porsha or Shamia?
I think we're going to go with the Porsha.
Okay. Do you think Charles loves Angela as much as she loves Charles?
I don't know if they love each other as much as 24 karat gold maple syrup loves the waffles.
Okay.
See, I don't like that. I don't believe that he does not love his wife. I don't believe that she's more in love with her husband than he is in love with her. I don't like stuff like this because, especially when it's coming from someone who is going through a divorce right now. I'm saying, and then you have Ashley over there with her big apple head, but you can't really sit and judge this man that you don't know. And I don't like the question either, but this is this type of stuff that Andy does. So, he's all about the mess. Even him saying, "Oh, I think Porsha was really happy with Shamia coming on the show." You're just trying to invoke some mess and some drama. And then he's, "Oh, well, we'll talk about it on the reunion." But anyway, I just believe that Charles is an old-fashioned guy. He is not here for the BS and trying to prove his love and being something that he's not really. I believe that the man really does love his wife, but he's not here for y'all. He's not here to showcase something that's like, if he's not all about frou-frou stuff and just trying to prove his love to all of these people that he doesn't know and doesn't even really care about, he's not going to do that. I just don't believe that that's him. I don't. And I just believe he's also an old tired man. You see him looking like Frederick Douglass, but I'm just saying, guys, I believe that he does love his wife, but people are always going to try to make something bigger out of something that really isn't. I don't believe there's any, like they say, there's any there. I don't think there's an issue there. All right. And now, we have Drew and Ralph, and I haven't talked about them as much as I had meant to. And I actually had some commentary that I had planned on making. And hey, I might still do it just because this is coming out right now. It doesn't mean that I can't still talk about it because it doesn't change who Ralph really is. But this went sort of viral on social media. Ralph shared this video, and I'm sharing this courtesy of the Bravo Shade Room, where, yeah, let's just go ahead and get into it.
Drew, what do you call me? Hello, Ralph. What do you call me? Hello, Ralph. What do you call me? Yo, Drew, I made all of this food here. The steak, the hot dogs, the chicken.
Let me taste it. I'm going to sit down and make me a plate.
Oh.
Hey, Helen.
Oh. Hey,
Hi,
hey, grandmama.
Helen.
You Ralph made the steak?
Oh, look at this.
Wow, that's so good.
Drew's making the cabbage. Her saute.
Little peppermint.
We're going to have to table that to see how it tastes.
Drew, what do you call me?
So, this is him cooking in the kitchen. They're obviously in the kitchen together. And they're going through this divorce. We've seen the scenes on the show where she's crying, he's laughing, she's saying he's doing her dirty, he's locking her out of the house and changing the code and whatnot, and trying to take her LLC and trying to get her attorney kicked off of her case and all of this other stuff that's going on. I don't even really know what's real. And I know a lot of people have called Drew a liar. Listen, I'm not going to say that she hasn't lied about some stuff, but I'm not going to say anything about the divorce until I see what really comes of it, because she's claimed that she's trying to do some things for the sake of the children to make them feel comfortable. But like somebody said right here, it's so obvious Ralph played nice to get a moment to upload on purpose. He's so calculated, and I can agree with that. I don't put anything past this guy. So for people to try to come down on Drew about the situation, I believe that Drew's situation is really real. I mean, I really do. But is she the wisest person in the world with the decisions that she makes? Obviously not, because she got married to this man within like 3 months of dating him. She didn't know this man. She didn't know him. So honestly, she married, even though they've been married for, many years at this point, she married a stranger. And so when you get into a relationship quickly with someone like that, and then you commit into marriage with them, you really never know what you're going to get when you're going, if you're going to go through a divorce, because you know what they say, the person you marry is not the person that you divorce. They wind up being a completely different person. But with that marriage and with that situation, I do believe, even though it's been nasty and toxic from the very first episode of the first season that they have been on this show, I believe it's a real nasty marriage, but it's a real marriage. And obviously, I don't believe that man really loved her. I don't. I believe he used her. He saw her potential and he wanted to latch onto it. So, she responded to that on the Neighborhood Talk, and she said, "We have to co-parent and maintain a good relationship for the sake of the kids. From my conversation with my mother, I've been trying to approach things in a better way so the kids feel secure and loved. Obviously, I had no idea this was going to be posted. Based on how I looked, I thought it was a private, hidden family moment, not something meant for social media." And there you go. I believe that he did this to try to make her look bad. And this goes to the commentary that I'm going to be making. I'm actually still going to do it. But yeah, Ralph is trash. When I think of Ralph, I think of like vomit, throw up. If you ever heard people use the term, they Ralphed all over the floor. It's like Ralph is vomit. It's something you spew out of your mouth from the pits of your stomach. He's disgusting. And I believe he did that on purpose. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. And finally, I'm going to talk about Britt and her husband. I'm not even going to waste any time talking about Porsha because we already know what that marriage was all about in the first place, and the fact that we had her in this last episode looking at homes, which was just a scene, for the show. Because anyway, I'm not even getting into all of that. But Britt and her husband, I don't know, guys. It's just, to me, whew, I don't know. I won't even say I don't know a whole lot. I don't know anything about relationships when men who are allegedly gay or bisexual actually link up with women and they have these lavender marriages. But we've known of a famous one before, and there's a number of them. Al Reynolds and Star Jones back in the day, that was definitely a lavender marriage, even though he claimed back then that he wasn't. Well, to the public, he wasn't that, and now he claims he's bisexual. But he just gives me that. I don't see him as someone that's even really being into her. He just looks like it's an arrangement, like an agreement. I want to say an arrangement. It just looks like this is an agreement. It looks like it's an agreement. Because if you've been watching the show and you've seen the scenes, like there was one scene, she was pulling out some outfits to like show him, which one do you think I should wear? Should it be this one or should it be this one? He doesn't look like he cares. He doesn't look like he's into her. He doesn't look like he's into hers, period. Like, he doesn't look like he's into women. And when they were on that Nashville trip and she called him and he was in the car in the passenger seat and a guy was driving, I don't know. It was just giving me like, yeah, wife's away now. The cat, well, the cat's away now. The mouse is going to play with some dick. I don't know. It just was given that to me because I just don't feel that he is really into her. She tries to give off this sexy sex kitten type of act around him, and he just doesn't look interested. I mean, look at him. Somebody right here says, "Do you guys ever kiss to show affection?" I don't know. A beautiful couple, but something is missing. And that's what I'm saying. It's like, I'm not trying to judge your relationship, but you guys are putting it on Front Street on the show for all of us to see. And to me, it's looking like he's just not that into her. I don't even have a real whole lot to like. Look at him. Ciao. But yeah, clearly the people who follow her, they're just like, I feel like they just like her. I don't get that he really likes her. I just don't. And I feel like if they had a child, it would be IVF. This is my personal opinion. I don't know. But look at him. He just doesn't, even his hands, they don't look like they're really touching her. It looks like he is hovering her hips with his hands for the picture. But he doesn't give me There's just something that just doesn't seem right. And then after that guy came out and did that video, well, not did that video, that guy came out and did that interview with Tasha K, talking about how he was doing some things with this guy right here, which I don't believe he is lying. Tasha K said Britt Edie sent her a cease and desist. She's like, send the cease and desist to that guy. Like, I didn't say you did the stuff. All I did was interview the guy, and he said what you all did, and he had his receipts from Cash App, okay? But even like right here, he just...
What advice would you give to women?
Yeah, it just doesn't seem like he is... Yeah, it doesn't seem like he's into her like that. But anyway, guys. Yeah, I didn't even intend to spend that much time talking about them because they don't even really seem like they spend a whole lot of time talking about their relationship with each other. It's just looking like it's an agreement, like I said, not an arrangement, an agreement. But I just shared my opinion, guys. You let me know your thoughts in the comments.
Thanks for being here, liking, and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.